Chapter 3. Libraries aren't just for books. How often do you see two people entering a nativity in public? Michael said. Well, I'll give you that, but I don't think that is the best time to be talking about this, I answered. Why do you say that? I pointed in front of him, and we all looked from behind the nativity scene and saw two police officers looking at the display. I think we got a big problem, I said. It's just police, what are you worried about? Flynn said in reply. I've been chased away from worse. Cults, other treasure hunters, supposed family friends, even vampires. Wait, what? I said in a louder voice. That was a mistake. I soon found the police standing right in front of me. God, how I wish it was the band instead. Oh, evening, officers. A fine Yuletide evening, isn't it? Mind telling us why you young kids are hanging around the back of our nativity display? Questioned one of the officers. They're under my care, Flynn said, stepping up in front of the officers. Excellent try, sir. However, you look like the other person who was in the stable scene, the other officer said. Well, we're just the cleaning crew, just making sure that the statues are in prime shape. Flynn started to nervously laugh. All right, time for a plan. Follow me and do exactly what I do. Flynn began to run off, quite strange, frankly. You heard the man, my friends, run! My friend started to run, slightly mimicking how Flynn was running. Apologies, officers. You see, I am a law-abiding citizen, but I need to figure out if this guy has any relation to what's happening to me. I then ran off in the same fashion as everybody else. I started to run toward the giant Christmas tree. I could see the cops right behind me. Thinking of something to do with my friends nowhere in sight, I started to climb the tree. It was not comfortable, let me tell you. Pine needles kept getting in my way, and I was getting poked in every single part of my body. Also, every so often I would hear a snap sound from one of the branches falling down. Lucky for me, none of those falling branches hit the strings on the lights. From below, I then saw the first official who spotted Flynn and myself in the nativity scene. He looked a little menacing. Commotion was building within the crowd, all except that tall guy I spotted through the mesh standing behind the kids. The official. He was standing there now, watching me. Weirdo. Meanwhile, Flynn and my friends had found their way away from the cops and hid behind one of the statues in front of the Capitol building, which is where the tree lighting takes place. You seem to go on a lot of adventures for a guy who lets people check out books. Well, you see, libraries aren't just for books. Now, get down, everyone. Excalibur, now! Flynn took everybody's heads and pushed them down. All of a sudden, a sword came from behind the statue and headed for the policeman. The sword surrounded the policeman and kept poking them until they were completely gone. The tall man, keeping a close eye on me, started to jump as well and then soon ran away. Something tells me he's going to be back at some point. That a boy, Excalibur! The sword jumped up and down, and then swerved, and soon started to head towards the tree. No, go back to Uncle Flynn. Don't come toward me. What am I doing? I'm talking to a sword. You'd think I'd be freaked out about that, but it was the least of my problems. But my wishful thinking didn't help. The sword went right past the trunk of the tree, and cut it. The tree started to tip and come down, still with me in it, in case you forgot. Lucky for me, I had something to help me out. I reached from my belt and unclipped my whip. I unraveled it and swung it onto a flagpole. I pulled myself out of the collapsing tree and then rappelled down to the ground. I slowly turned around, expecting to see the tree on the ground. However, I saw about 7 men holding the other side of the tree. Some then moved to the other side and tied ropes to the branches. They pulled and were able to bring the tree back up. Unfortunately, there were some broken light bulbs on the ground. Oh well. Because I was able to see what and where this magic sword was, I went to the position where it was and found my friends. Okay, Carson, was it? Explain. Excalibur. You know, the sword of King Arthur. You mean that was the actual Excalibur? Lana said, wide-eyed. Flynn nodded and smiled. You're not exactly a normal librarian, are you? Michael said. No, that would be right. That would be about right, Flynn answered. And people are going to be okay with a magic flying sword? Nicholas questioned. Flynn just motioned him to shush. So I then stepped right up to Flynn. I thought you weren't a real librarian. I bet you know something about what's been happening to me. So tell us, what did you see in the display?